Hello. As I usually say about my own video talks, they are not for all. Not everyone will like them. Not everyone will understand them and appreciate, because I speak about some subjects which are not in trend of regular video bloggers, and today's video is not an exception, as I'm going to share my experience of temporary nunhood in Buddhism. I had already a previous introductory talk about that, and there is also an audio file of an interview made with me where I spoke about some deeper realizations while being a nun. And this one is intended to answer some of the questions and give more logistical answers, I would say. So I had my experience of nunhood in Asia, and mainly I understand that this is where we have to head to be able to ordain temporarily, as there are also temples, Buddhist temples here in Europe, and they accept young monks and nuns. However, I don't know if they really do this temporary ordination themselves. So as such countries like Burma, Thailand, Sri Lanka are very well introduced with Buddhism, this is even wrong to say, they have Buddhism deeply into their culture. The roots of Buddhism, they are there. So those countries, they have plenty of centers and monasteries where we Westerners have a chance to come and stay and practice with them, and in certain places we can even ordain. So I had a chance to ordain in Burma with the founder of, I would say, meditation and recreation center, Thabarwa. I will give more details about this center below this video so that you can also use the information and take this chance for yourself. And actually this is really a chance. I should tell you that when I already became a nun, a temporary nun, I was still having doubts about the necessity of that act. And you know, this is a very well-known obstacle on the mind, a doubt. There are 5 obstacles, and doubt is a frequent one which comes to our mind and disturbs it and makes us hesitant and actually puts brakes, puts obstacles on the way of our discovery of the truth, on the way towards liberation and enlightenment. So already having become a nun, I continued having some doubts on my mind about whether it is a worthy thing to do. So already now I'm telling you, this is really worthy. But back then I still needed kind of some proofs and confirmations. So what I learned, and I really want to share with you, is that this is a very rare chance to have monastic life, because not everybody would be able to do it, not only to own interest and desire, but also due to the conditions that would not bring the person to such an opportunity. Let's say, first of all, it is already rare that we are born as human beings. According to Buddhism, we know that there are different realms and there are different opportunities to be reborn. So being born as an animal, we can't walk the Dhamma path. We can't make decisions. We can't make choices. Our consciousness is very much limited. And only being born as a human being, we can really make a change. We can walk the path that Buddha discovered, the path towards liberation, because we can make a choice. Well, we should remember, of course, that there is no self, it is not about us, but that small difference of being a human being and having the mind, we can really make that difference and walk the path of Dhamma. So this is already rare, to be born as a human being. And then another thing, to discover meditation, and then not only meditation as it is now presented in the Western, mainly in the Western world, presented as the practice for relaxation or practice for gaining confidence, realization, some goals in life. Meditation as the true practice of the discovery of the truth. So this is also a rare chance to face that practice of meditation. And many people are born as human beings and still they never encounter an opportunity to even question themselves about who we are and what this world is. So first of all, we are born as human beings. Then there is a chance that we already discover something about meditation, about Dhamma. Then third thing that nuns told me I had as a rare chance realized in my life, that I even found my way to a Buddhist country of Burma, and I came particularly not only for traveling, but to that very center, Thabarwa Centre, or I could come to any other center where there would be teaching of Dhamma and an opportunity to practice deeper, to become a nun. So I also had this chance, and I came to Thabarwa. And then another thing, it's not only that I came as a volunteer, because this is the center that gives an opportunity for locals and foreigners to come and be able to stay there or just visit regularly and do good deeds, practice this self-detachment, doing for others, forgetting about ourselves. So I had more than that. I could meet the master. He's there and there is the whole world around, but not everybody meets him. I had this chance. And then I had another one, very important chance of understanding his teaching. Because there are many people around him, there are many Burmese who speak the same language with him, and still they lack this understanding of his teaching, of his explanation, understanding of Dhamma. I was lucky to, actually I was bumping like into the wall lots of time before I could get this glimpse of understanding, before I could get this insight. When I started understanding that at least I don't understand anything. This was my most important first understanding, that I just don't know anything. And from there I started moving. And since then, when Sayadaw, so his name is Sayadaw Ottamasara, the founder of Thabarwa Centre, he kind of noticed that deep interest and that capacity to understand in me. He could see my mind, and he started suggesting that I might become a nun. And at that time I didn't know yet that it is possible to do on temporary basis, and an idea of just abandoning my life and becoming a nun while I was just a traveler, free mind traveler, wasn't attractive to me. Even it sounded scary. So I didn't take it seriously at all, and I would never guess that sometime it would become a reality for me. So at that time I just understood that there is something deep and important happening with me, and I should definitely come back to Thabarwa. And having spent 1 month there, having followed the master in his trips for teachings that he gave in other Buddhist communities or in families and hospitals, for some of the donors, I gained lots of experience of being next to him, seeing his behavior, sometimes not understanding what is happening, sometimes just facing my own hardships of this body and then eventually this mind, I could learn a lot about how to experience life. Because what Sayadaw teaches is life is to experience only. This is not to attach, this is not to take as true, but to take it as experience only. So 2 years later, I was back to Thabarwa already with my brother and my husband, because I got married soon after that. And I got to learn actually that it is possible to be ordained even as a married person. So temporary ordination is there for this purpose. And I got interested. I started being interested as already by that time I had made some more practices of meditation, and I learned some more Dhamma, and I understood it's not about things around us, it's about understanding the own experience of life, of mind. And I could see that monastic way of life is something that may enrich my understanding. And that was true, because on another occasion when I was in the winter time in the Asia, and I was writing my book, my husband, actually, it was his initiative. He told me that since I still had more time left in Asia before my flight back home, I could take that opportunity and try that temporary nunhood. So this is another logistical thing that we should know, that in order to become a monk or a nun, we have to get a permission from our family. It is either our parents, or if we are married, it should be our spouse. So my spouse gave me that permission, and actually at that moment, maybe more for fun, I decided to take that challenge. I asked permission from Sayadaw to make me ordained, and he knew I would be doing it temporarily, and we chose some day. I was given already, as my first donation, I was given robes, and as a procedure there was shaving the hair, and the nuns were singing some kind of prayer which was saying that I'm detaching from this life of a lay person. This is not me, not Katerina, this is not my hair to make me beautiful, and so on. And I was shaved, and I took a shower. Well, in Asia it is bucket water, and then just nuns helped me to wrap into the robes, and with that my experience began. Well, I of course took the 8 precepts, so the difference is that lay people usually have 5 precepts, and monastics, at least at the first stage, back then 8 precepts. So additional 3 are not to be sleeping on the high luxurious beds, not only sleeping, sitting, having this simplified life. So in Asia we generally sit on the floor, so not only meditating, sitting on the floor, but just sitting on the floor, or listening to a teaching sitting on the floor, working on the computer sitting on the floor. Another thing about the hair, as I said, shaving the hair, shaving this attribute or symbol of beautification, so not to beautify yourself. And there is also a lot of attachment to the hair, and this is something that stops some other girls who might be curious about ordaining temporarily, and this is the thing that they say stops them. Well, I had other issues that stopped me, but really not the hair. Hair is something that may grow back. And the third thing about the precepts, the third additional precept is not eating after noon. Well, that was also not a problem, not a challenge, when you get into that style of life, when you're living in the monastic community and everybody does like that, you just eat early in the morning and then you have your meal at 11:30, then there is no hunger and no problem, and actually you feel lighter. And this is also an important factor for being able to meditate. And as we mainly meditate, we don't do hard physical work, we also don't need that much of eating and no stress, but don't think that monastic life is just really sitting in the cave. That's not. Especially if you do it with Sayadaw Ottamasara, life is full of activities, full of arrangements, of meetings, of teachings, of this also intellectual and out of intellectual work for yourself. So you don't become really exposed to silence only. There are still people in the community, although they are monastics, they are monks and nuns. As we have our minds tend to react with their habit. And there would be also conflicts, there would be also all different exposures to situations which are challenging. So mind even faces more challenges maybe than in the regular life, because in the regular life we may just ignore them. While there, everyone is directed to see the mind as it is, and life brings situations. So I spoke about shaving the hair, I spoke about taking precepts after, of course, taking refuge from the triple gem, and what else? So in my case, I ordained in Vietnam because Sayadaw was making a trip there, was having a retreat there. So I ordained there in the forest, in a monastery. And then I spent some time in Kuala Lumpur community, in Thabarwa Centre in Kuala Lumpur, staying there only with nuns, where we had our own routine, our own arrangements, yogis, people, meditators come and we give them teachings. Like the main nun was given teachings. But what I should notice here about my experience, which was quite powerful for me, that once I ordained, others take me as a nun. They see me as a nun and they come, they approach me and they prostrate towards me. They pay their respect to my power of abandonment, that I abandoned the lay people's life, habits, usual clothing, beautification, everything in order to practice the wisdom. People pay respect for that. They give me donations. That made me feel very uncomfortable. I couldn't look at it with ease because I felt that we are equal. I come from the West, and this is even a bigger factor that was letting me feel very uncomfortable about somebody prostrating to me and people trying to sit below where I am. Well, if we're sitting all on the floor, they just take some distance, but already in Kuala Lumpur, the center is located in the apartment. There were chairs, I was sitting on the chair and people would come and sit down next to me. And that made me feel I don't want to be superior here. But the thing is actually that my mind was making that separation. People were just given respect. And what was happening on my mind is the habit of dividing for superior, inferior, for who is more important, who is less important, and having this habit from the West to be equal, to be the same, I felt ashamed. Though I shouldn't have felt so. And with the time I learned, I understood, and I took my place there. And as others saw me as a nun, I couldn't myself yet accept this and see myself as a nun. And the first week since I ordained, I was actually yet making some fun, and I was speaking to Sayadaw, as I remember now, holding my robe like this and telling him, you think this changes something? Robe doesn't change anything. I can still practice meditation in the same way. I can still follow you wherever you go. I can listen to your teachings. Robe doesn't change anything. Why do we need a robe? This is just some temporary experience, and that's it. And at that time, Sayadaw said something which actually corrected me on my path of being that temporary nun. He told me that I couldn't see the difference because I was thinking about myself as a temporary nun. I wasn't taking it seriously. I wasn't able to live in the present moment. At that moment, I was a nun, but my mind was somewhere in the past of who I know I am, and somewhere in the future of who I know I will be again. I wasn't there in the present moment with the experience that was happening. With that remark, actually, I reconsidered things, and everything even started changing. This experience of nunhood, although temporary, it gave me something which changed my connection to Dhamma. I became one. I became one with Dhamma. I don't see Dhamma separate from my life separate, lay person or monastic person. Experience is experience. Lots of understanding deepened. I got some insights. Which just struck me with that understanding, not at the intellectual level, but at the level of, wow, this is how it is. You know, there are some deeper talks that I give in that interview that I mentioned before, so I just want to inspire you. If you are thinking and doubting, I definitely recommend you should go for it. If you have enough of paramis, these are the characteristics that we have accumulated within ourselves due to our previous experience, due to our already connection made before with Dhamma. I mean, this, born as a human being already, discovering meditation, discovering a place, a master. If you have that chance, go for it. Go for it. There is no losing. You will only gain from it. The only scary thing about that I started doubting if I want to get back to this robe. And I wasn't ready yet, and really my mind started experiencing fear. And I was not strong enough just to observe it. I was getting a little bit emotional about it. So all different experiences. But that is true. Once I accepted that I am a nun, and those people, lay people who come and donate to me and prostrate to me, pay their respect, I started accepting that too. And my meditation deepened. Whatever I achieved at that period of time, actually it gave me quite big attachment later. When I already disrobed and now as a layperson, when I just did my regular practice of meditation, sitting meditation, let's say, because meditation is not just about sitting. I should just make this remark. Meditation is the state of mind, natural, clear state of mind, happening at all the time, not just at sitting practice. Sitting practice is an exercise, let's say. And I should mention more that I share my skills and knowledge and experience of sitting meditation, and not only sitting meditation, and all the understanding behind it. I share it voluntarily for free in my online sessions. In English, they are regularly during the last 2 years on Tuesday evening. You can see more information on my website, or maybe I will leave some more links below this video here. So I got that experience at the nunhood time, and then I developed some attachment. So sitting back home doing my sitting meditation, I was looking for that depth. I was looking for that sensation. Some things I achieved and I already have them, and I don't go back towards what I didn't know yet before, and something still I remember that I touched, but I'm not there anymore. So really, the experience of temporary nunhood gave me big opportunity in my life, and I intend to get back to that opportunity again. And I warmly recommend to everyone who has this idea that you follow it, that you remember that either it is a fear or a doubt, this is just an obstacle on the mind. So what we need to do, not to think of it as something, but just an obstacle, just a phenomena happening. We just give the right effort, we create the determination, and we go for it. So in this talk, I shared some experience, some inspiration, some logistical details. There is no any term of whether temporal ordination should be done for 1 month or 1 year, or it can be, as Buddha said, if we have a chance in our life to ordain, we should better do it even for 1 day rather than never doing at all. So if you have this chance, even for 1 day, go for it. I wish you strength and confidence on the path, and may all beings be happy, liberated, free from suffering. May all be happy.